Hey there and welcome. You know how sometimes you run into an English word that just feels like a locked box, impossible to open? Well, today we're going to find the keys. We're about to uncover the simple secrets hiding inside even the most complicated-looking words. So, let's put on our detective hats and start cracking the code. So let's start with this one, transatlantic. Yeah, at first glance, that might look a little intimidating, right? We're going to treat this as our mystery word for today. And trust me, by the time we're done here, you'll have the tools to unlock not just this word, but tons of others with absolute confidence.
Okay, so here's the first secret you need to know. Big, scary-looking words are usually just simple words in a clever disguise. Seriously, they're built from smaller, way more manageable parts. And once you learn how to spot these parts, that disguise just falls right off.
And this right here is our #1 tool for our detective work. It's called an affix. Now that's a kind of fancy name for a really simple idea. It's just a group of letters that you can stick onto a word. Think of them like these tiny, super powerful attachments that can completely transform a word in an instant.
So our little toolkit here has two main kinds of affixes. First up, you've got prefixes. These guys get attached to the beginning of a word to change its meaning. And then you have suffixes, which go on the end of a word to change its job, its function in a sentence. Let's see how they work.
All right, let's start with prefixes. These are the real game changers. They're the ones that can take a word and flip its meaning completely on its head. Let's try it out with a really simple root word.
We all know what connect means, right? To join things together. This is our base, our starting point. Now just watch what happens when we bring in a prefix.
By adding the prefix dis, we've just created disconnect. See? We didn't just change it a little bit, we made it the total opposite. That right there is the power of a prefix. Let's do another one.
Here's another word we use all the time, possible, something that can be done. But what if we want to say something cannot be done?
We just add the prefix im, and bam, you've got impossible. It's so clean, it's efficient, and it totally transforms the meaning. So, the thing to remember is that prefixes are all about changing the meaning of a word.
Here are a few more must-haves for your toolkit. Pre means before, like in preview. Re means again, like replay. Un means not, as in unable. And hey, keep a close eye on that last one, trans, which means across or over. It might just pop up again later.
All right, now let's switch gears and talk about our second tool, suffixes. Now, while prefixes change the meaning, suffixes are a little more subtle. They change a word's job description. They can turn an action into a person or a quality into a whole concept. How cool is that?
For example, take the word write. This is a verb. It's an action, right? It's something you do. But what if we want to talk about the person who's actually doing the writing?
Well, we just add the suffix and poof, write, the action, becomes writer, the person. The word's whole function just shifted from a verb to a noun. It really is kind of like magic.
Let's try another one. The word kind is an adjective. It describes a quality that someone has. But how do we talk about that quality as a thing all by itself?
We just add the suffix ness, and just like that, kind, the description, becomes kindness, the abstract idea or state of being. The word now has a totally new job to do in our sentences.
And here are a few more handy suffixes for you. You've got able, which means something can be done, like readable. Tation usually refers to an act, like in creation. Li tells you how something is done, like quickly. And less just means without, as in homeless.
Okay, so we're really getting the hang of building words now. But as you build your vocabulary, you might notice something a little curious. Sometimes the same word looks different depending on where you see it written. But it's not a mistake. Think of it more like a difference in dialect, kind of like an accent, but in writing.
Yeah, a classic example is the difference between British and American English. So in the UK, you'll see colors spelled with a U, or theater ending in RE. But in the US, those are spelled differently. The important thing is, neither one is wrong. It just depends on where in the world you are.
So this brings up a really great question. What if you look up a word in the dictionary and you see two different spellings sitting right next to each other? Which one are you supposed to use? Is one of them, better than the other?
Well, the rule of thumb here is actually pretty simple. The first spelling that the dictionary lists is just the more common one. So in this example, judgment without the E is the one you'll see more often, but both are perfectly correct. No worries about getting red marks from a teacher on this one.
All right,
We've gathered our tools, we've learned the rules of the road. I think it's time we go back to that mystery word from the very beginning and put these new detective skills to the test.
Okay, let's break this down. That word transatlantic doesn't seem so scary now, does it? First, we spot that prefix, trans, which we now know means across. The root word is obviously Atlantic, like the ocean. You put them together, and what do you get? It simply means across the Atlantic. And just like that, the case is closed.
So, what are our big takeaways from all this? Well, first, those few little letters, our affixes, have a ton of power. Remember, prefixes change what a word means, while suffixes change what a word does. Also, those different spellings you see are usually about geography, not about being right or wrong. And maybe, most importantly, you now have the basic tools to start taking apart and understanding words you've never even seen before.
See, you've seen how simple it can be once you know what to look for. All those little building blocks are right there, just waiting for you to find them. So the only real question left is, what complex word are you going to decode next?